Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at the figure I was most excited for when it came to the 2019 lineup from Collecta, and I'm sure you all know the reason why. It is because Carnotaurus is my favorite dinosaur. So, I, of course, was beyond words excited to find out that Collecta was making a Carnotaurus. I've pretty much been keeping my fingers crossed for years at this point that they would make one because I knew they would do a great job on it, and they finally announced one this year, showed off some beautiful prototype images of it, and I was already sold. But getting the figure in hand in person, boy, I am sold even more because this thing looks beautiful. Just standing here looks so realistic, so awesome. I think that initially I was a little put off, I think, by the paint up here in the face, these kind of stripes, but I can definitely tell you without question that in person, it is not any kind of an off-putting look. It actually gives it a very striking, beautiful appearance, and overall, this Carnotaurus just looks fantastic. So I'm a little too excited, a little too giddy. I need to get a closer look. Let's do that right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, just look at how incredibly highly detailed and beautiful that Carnotaurus head is. There are so many different size scales all throughout the entire head sculpt of this. Look at that. That is incredibly well done. Really, really beautiful work on the part of Collecta. And just look at how nicely done the eye is as it shines and glistens as I turn it. It really looks very, very real. Beautifully painted, given a very nice gloss. As far as the overall detailing of the head, you can see that the scales look incredible. Up here on the palate area and everything, there is just very large scales, but then the closer you get to the eye, the scales get to be much smaller, much more fine. The detailing all around the eye looks incredible. You can see the ears sculpted out right here back behind the eye. The lower jaw has incredible sculpt work as well as far as the scales. So many different size scales. I think it just honestly looks incredibly nice. The horns on the top of the head look beautiful as well. There's some very nice detailing that has been put into those. It's not perfectly smooth or anything. You can see some cracks and crevices throughout. Very nicely done as far as the color choice of the horns themselves. They have a very nice realistic color and then taper off to a black on the edges to really give it a very realistic and very striking appearance. And if you look at the top of the head, actually, now that we're up here, look at how beautifully done the overall shape of the head is. That is honestly the perfect skull shape, I think, for a Carnotaurus. Probably the most accurate skull shape I think I've seen on a Carnotaurus figure, because I know Carnotaurus had a very thin skull, and you see that really beautifully portrayed here. A lot of the time, the Carnotaurus figures that I find end up having a thicker head, and that's not exactly how Carnotaurus's head actually looked. It's very quite thin, and you can really see that beautifully portrayed here in the Collecta sculpt, so that is a huge plus, I think, as far as this figure goes for realism's sake. It's probably the most accurate Carnotaurus skull shape that I can recall on any figure. The inside of the mouth has a nice pinkish coloration, very beautifully done. It's a little hard to see. He actually doesn't have an articulated jaw. The jaw stays completely stiff, so I can't really open it any wider or anything to look in there, but it looks quite nice. The teeth are painted really beautifully. You can see the lower jaw has a little bit of sloppiness to it, but nothing terrible. A little bit on this side as well. The upper jaw really looks nice, and I don't think the sloppiness of the paint a little bit on the lower jaw detracts from the figure at all. I still think it looks really beautiful. You can again see the light coloration of these stripes that run across the face. I think that helps to give it such a very striking and realistic look. Beautifully done there. The head starts to turn into a darker coloration here up on the top, like a dark brown, and then you see those trademark Carnotaurus bumps run the entire length of the dinosaur, along with the ridges up here on the top of the spine, which have been very nicely painted. They look really quite nice as well. Nice skin folding going on here in the neck, a little bit of saggy skin here in the throat, and again you can really see the nice fine scaling going on in the throat and neck area. As you get down into the shoulders, you can see the shoulder blade right there, protruding from the skin. Those beautiful trademark small Carnotaurus arms, they do appear to be sized quite nicely. I think they've done a great job on those. As you get down here into the stomach, you can see some nice skin folding going on, some skin stretching here as the left rear leg here is pulling back. Very nice attention to detail on the part of Collecta, and look how beautiful the scaling is on the body overall. The skin texture and everything looks really beautiful. There's a very nice indent here as the leg is stretching, pulling the skin, really shining through right there, the movement of the dinosaur and the overall sculpt. Nice musculature here in the thigh. You can almost get a sense of the bone structure, honestly, throughout the leg. It is really beautifully portrayed in the sculpt. Very majestic looking. Nice calf muscles. Get down here into the feet. Those feet look awesome. Really beautiful, and I love the paint application that's on this. It all looks very natural. So many different color tones as far as skin tones go. I think they've done a great job overall on the paint application. Nice skin folding and wrinkling here, showing again the movement of the leg right here behind in the tail. Those Carnotaurus bumps continue to run down the length of the tail. You see some skin folding going on here at the bottom of the tail, and then it runs out to a nice point. Very beautiful. It's got a slight curve to it as well. And then looking at this side, the head sculpt looks really nice, as it did on the opposing side. Really beautiful. The horns up on the top look fantastic as well. There might have been a little bit of sloppiness actually on the paint application of the eye on this side. Has run down a little bit, but I don't think that's really anything to detract from the figure, because that was probably just a random mistake. I think it still looks really beautiful regardless. Nice skin folding and hanging skin again in the throat. Some skin folding here in the neck. Beautiful skin texture as we run down the neck into the shoulder. Nice Carnotaurus arms. The fingers are painted nicely. The nails themselves are painted nicely. Again, some skin folding here in the stomach region. Beautiful skin texture as we run down the length of the body into these very nice, very large thigh muscles. Nice calf muscles, very large and bulging calf muscles, as the Carnotaurus is currently putting weight on that foot as it's stepping forward. So that is very nice attention to detail. The calf muscles on this side are nice, but they don't appear to be bulging quite as much as you see on this side, which is really beautiful attention to detail on the part of Collecta. Nicely done foot, very bird-like, beautifully sculpted and painted. When we come back up, I really love the skin folding and everything here in this area. Really nice. And then we run out the length of the tail again. It looks pretty much the same on this side as it did on the other side as far as the tail goes, because it's in a straightforward position. The underside also sports some incredible sculpt and detail. Cloaca as always right there. Really nice. Beautiful looking Carnotaurus. So this Carnotaurus is awesome. I am in love with this thing. It is just so super beautiful. As I said, there is no articulated jaw, so the mouth is just always staying open, and I'm fine with that. You can see that the figure with most, or actually with all Collecta figures, does not detach from the base. You can actually take the figures off of the base. I've seen numerous people do it if you just work at it and maybe try to cut it off. I'm not really sure exactly how they do it, but I have seen lots of people do it, and they actually do seem to balance quite well even without the base. But I enjoy the base. I like to keep the base on there. This base is exactly the same style base that we've been getting continuously from Collecta lately, so I don't really need to take a look at the base. Trust me when I tell you, it is awesome and very highly detailed. As far as a size goes on the Carnotaurus, from the tail to the head, you are looking at about 11 inches or about 28 centimeters, and for a height, about 4.5 inches or about 11.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is our buddy the Papo T-Rex, who could have some serious competition here when it comes to this Carnotaurus, because that would be a pretty good fight. I'm not so sure that the Rex wouldn't win because he is a good bit bigger, but I'm going to put my money on Carnotaurus over here since he's my favorite. So, Mr. Rex, you need to back off, buddy. So this Carnotaurus is awesome. The overall sculpt is beautiful. It honestly, in my opinion, is pretty much perfection. It really looks awesome. There's just so much incredible detail and sculpt as Collecta always includes in their figures. The entire face area in general has such beautiful scaling all over. So many different variations of size scales that it's honestly just breathtaking to look at. The entire pose of it is just kind of a very relaxed walking pose, it appears. Or maybe actually he might be running after prey. He may just be starting to take off. Either way, whatever you take away from the pose, I think it looks beautiful. The entire way that it's presented looks just awesome to me. The paint application as well is fantastic. I think that they've done a great job as far as giving it very subtle changes in color, but making it look very realistic and very beautifully done as far as the skin tones go. I like the coloration of this brown on it and the fact that it turns to a darker brown on the upper side. The ridges that run along the spine all look beautiful, very nicely painted, and that flashiness of that lighter coloration on the face, it's almost like a war paint type look, like Collecta does do quite often, I think looks beautiful on this version of Carnotaurus. It is actually quite the breath of fresh air to see a company head in the opposite direction of the usual red that we normally see Carnotaurus, and give it a much more natural type of a look, something that it definitely could have been. I could totally see a Carnotaurus being this coloration in real life, so they've done just overall an absolutely bang-up job on this 1/40th scale Deluxe Carnotaurus. I absolutely love this figure. If you do want to buy one for yourself, I will link you in the description to everythingdinosaur.com, where you can pick up this absolutely jaw-droppingly incredible Collecta Carnotaurus for yourself. Follow that link in the description to Everything Dinosaur. Pick this sucker up right now because it is absolutely awesome and you will not regret it. But before you do that, do not forget to please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.